Everything is possible and everything will work out. Let that sink in for a moment, because deep down we've all had moments where that belief feels impossible to hold onto. Moments where you question if your dream is too far, if your situation is too hard, if your heart has been broken one too many times to ever heal again. But here's the truth: possibility is not something that exists out there. It's something that starts in here. It's born in the mind, fueled by belief, and proven through relentless action. Every single person who has ever achieved something extraordinary started in the exact same place: uncertainty. They didn't have guarantees. They didn't have perfect timing, perfect resources, or perfect plans. What they had was belief. A belief that no matter how difficult things looked, there was a way forward. Because when you decide, truly decide, that everything is possible, you begin to act in ways that create possibility. You move differently. You think differently. You stop looking for reasons why things can't work and start finding reasons why they must. You see, life will always test you. It will throw obstacles, distractions, and disappointments your way, not to break you, but to build you. Those moments are not the end. They are the forge. The heat that turns soft metal into steel. The pain that turns weakness into power. When things fall apart, they're often falling into place. You might not see it right now, but the very thing you think is standing in your way is actually preparing you for what you asked for. The universe responds to persistence. It doesn't reward wishful thinking, it rewards unwavering action. So if you want something, truly want it, you have to keep moving when it hurts, when it's hard, when it feels hopeless. Because it's in those moments that breakthroughs are born. You'll never know how strong you are until you've had to fight through something that should have broken you. You'll never know how far you can go until you've taken that one extra step after you thought you were done. And yes, there will be days when it feels like nothing's working, when you question why you're even trying. But remember, growth is invisible before it's undeniable. Seeds grow underground long before you ever see the first leaf. Your effort is never wasted. Every step you take is building something maybe not visible yet, but real, alive, and forming. Keep trusting the process even when you can't see the progress, because everything you're doing now is aligning you with what you've been asking for. You must hold the vision even when the path is unclear. You must believe in yourself even when no one else does, because belief is the foundation of every miracle. When you start to see life through that lens that everything is possible and everything will work out, you stop reacting to fear and start responding to faith. You stop waiting for conditions to be perfect and start creating them. You stop seeing failure as a wall and start seeing it as a doorway. Your life will always rise to meet the level of your belief. So stop saying maybe one day. Stop saying if only. Start saying it's happening. Start saying I will. The energy of certainty is magnetic. It draws opportunities, people, and moments that align with your vision. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. So raise your standards, raise your belief, because the second you decide to no longer settle for less, life will rise to meet you. You are stronger than your fears, greater than your past, and more capable than you've ever imagined. Everything you've been through wasn't meant to destroy you, it was meant to prepare you. There's a reason you're still standing. There's a reason you're hearing these words right now. It's because your story isn't over. It's just getting started. Everything is possible. Everything will work out. It might not happen how you expect. It might not happen when you expect, but it will happen if you refuse to give up. Keep the faith, keep the vision, and keep moving forward, because the best chapters of your life are still being written. Possibility begins in the mind, not in circumstances. Everything that exists today, every invention, every success story, every breakthrough, started as a thought, a simple belief that something more was possible. The mind is the birthplace of reality, and what you choose to believe shapes what you allow yourself to experience. When you understand that your external world is just a reflection of your internal world, you stop waiting for the world to give you permission and start realizing that the power has been in you all along. The people who change their lives, who transform the impossible into the achievable, are not the ones born into the right conditions. They are the ones who decide to believe differently, to think differently, to act differently even when the evidence around them says otherwise. Your thoughts are not random. They are commands to your subconscious mind. When you think in terms of possibility, your mind begins to look for paths, for openings, for opportunities. It becomes a radar tuned to progress. But when you think in terms of limitation, your mind does the opposite. It finds reasons why you can't, why it won't work, why you should give up. The difference between someone who makes it and someone who doesn't often has nothing to do with talent or luck. It's about what they consistently tell themselves is possible. The one who wins is the one who refuses to let doubt take root long enough to shape their future. Circumstances will always shift. They're temporary, ever-changing, unpredictable. If you allow your belief system to depend on circumstances, then you're surrendering control of your destiny to things you cannot influence. But if you anchor your belief in the power of your own mind, you become unstoppable. Because the world can take away your comfort, your money, your certainty. But it cannot take away your ability to decide what something means and how you'll respond. That's the ultimate power. Every great leader, every visionary, every person who broke through barriers did so because they understood that mindset isn't a luxury, it's the foundation. They learned to master their emotions, to direct their focus, to control the inner dialogue that determines how they show up in life. The mind is like a lens, and whatever you focus it on becomes magnified. Focus on what's missing and you'll live in lack. Focus on what's possible and you'll live in expansion. The shift may seem small, but it changes everything. The words you say to yourself shape your state. Your state shapes your decisions. Your decisions shape your destiny. The change starts in your mind. When you wake up every morning and tell yourself that today something good can happen, that today is another step toward your dream, you begin to wire your brain to look for those moments. You start seeing doors where others only see walls. You start finding opportunities where others find excuses. But it takes awareness to control your mind, because the mind naturally gravitates toward fear. It's wired to protect you, not to push you. And that's why growth requires discipline. It means catching yourself in the moments when you say, I can't, it's too late, or it's not for me, and replacing them with I can figure this out. It's never too late, and this is my time. Over time, those new patterns of thought become beliefs, and those beliefs become your new reality. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You need to create the mindset that turns every moment into a possibility. People often think they'll believe once they see proof, but it's the other way around. You'll see proof once you believe. The moment you commit to a vision and refuse to let doubt destroy it, the universe starts aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in ways you couldn't have planned. But it only happens when your inner world is congruent with what you want to create. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, the impossible starts to bend. What was once a dream becomes a project. What was once a project becomes a result. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters what you decide to believe about where you're going. You can have two people in the exact same situation, same background, same challenges, and one will rise while the other stays stuck. The difference is invisible but powerful. One person believes there's a way, the other believes there isn't. That single decision changes how they think, how they act, how they persist. Belief is not a feeling you wait for. It's a choice you make daily, even when there's no evidence. Especially when there's no evidence. When you train your mind to see possibility instead of limitation, you begin to attract experiences that match that energy. Life responds to certainty. When you stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. Your energy shifts, your confidence grows, and the world begins to open up in ways that surprise you. The power to create change doesn't start with luck, timing, or resources. It starts with a single thought, a thought that says, what if this could work? That's where transformation begins. Because when you decide to believe in possibility, your mind becomes your greatest ally instead of your biggest enemy, and that's when everything begins to move. Obstacles are not roadblocks, they are preparation for growth. Every challenge you face carries a lesson, a message, a hidden strength waiting to be discovered. Life is not trying to stop you, it's trying to shape you. The problem is, most people see obstacles as punishment instead of preparation. They see resistance and think it means they're going the wrong way, when in truth, it's often the clearest sign that they're heading somewhere worth going. Growth never happens in comfort. It happens in struggle, in uncertainty, in the moments when you want to quit but choose to keep going anyway. When life puts something heavy on your path, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're strong enough to carry it. Those challenges are not here to block you from your potential. They are here to build it. You don't grow muscles without resistance. You don't develop patience without frustration. You don't build resilience without adversity. The very obstacles you wish would disappear are the same ones preparing you for the life you say you want. Every setback is a training ground for your next level. Every difficulty is sculpting the version of you that can handle greater opportunities. Think about it. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has walked through storms that tested their belief. They faced rejection, failure, and doubt. They were told no countless times before they ever heard a yes. But they didn't stop. They understood that obstacles aren't there to say it's over. They're there to ask, how badly do you want it? That question separates dreamers from doers. Because when the path gets hard, only those with purpose keep moving. The rest turn back, thinking the struggle is a sign to quit, not realizing it's the doorway to transformation. Every obstacle forces you to choose between comfort and growth. Comfort whispers, take the easy road. Growth says, walk through the fire. Comfort gives you temporary relief. Growth gives you lasting strength. When you choose growth over comfort, life rewards you with confidence that can't be taken away. You start realizing that you can handle more than you ever imagined, that the limits you once believed in were illusions created by fear. Obstacles don't define you, your response to them does. And when you learn to face them with courage instead of resistance, you stop seeing them as enemies and start seeing them as teachers. The truth is, every struggle you go through is building your capacity for more. You can't handle success until you've learned how to handle pressure. You can't appreciate peace until you've faced chaos. You can't value strength until you've been broken and rebuilt yourself. Growth is uncomfortable because it stretches you beyond what's familiar. But that's exactly where your power expands. The person you're becoming is being formed in the fires of your challenges. Without those moments, you would never evolve into the version of yourself that's capable of fulfilling your vision. When you shift your mindset from why is this happening to me to what is this trying to teach me, everything changes. Suddenly, the pain has purpose, the setback becomes feedback, the failure becomes information. Life stops being something that happens to you and starts being something that happens for you. That perspective gives you power, because when you believe everything is preparation, nothing feels wasted. Even the hardest days start to carry meaning. You realize that the delay isn't denial, it's development. You're being equipped, not punished. Obstacles test your faith, your patience, and your discipline. They ask if you truly mean what you say you want. It's easy to dream big when everything is smooth, but real belief is proven in the storms. That's where your true character is revealed. Anyone can be positive when things are working, but it takes strength to stay committed when everything feels uncertain. That's the kind of mindset that separates those who talk about their goals from those who live them. The obstacle is the path. There's no shortcut, no way around it, only through it. And on the other side of that through is a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of you. There's something powerful that happens when you start embracing obstacles instead of running from them. You stop wasting energy on resistance and start using it for growth. You start looking at challenges as opportunities to rise instead of reasons to retreat. You begin to trust that every difficulty is designed to refine you, not define you. You understand that pressure creates diamonds, not dust. When life squeezes you, it's pushing out what no longer serves you, making space for what's next. Every time you push through a challenge, you prove to yourself that you can. That self-trust compounds. It builds an unshakable confidence that no external validation can give you. You begin to operate from a place of power rather than fear. You stop waiting for things to get easier and start getting stronger. You stop asking for the storm to pass and start learning how to dance in the rain. That's where transformation happens, when you realize that the obstacle is not there to stop your journey, it is your journey. Persistence turns uncertainty into progress. It's the invisible bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Every dream, every goal, every transformation is built on persistence. The quiet, relentless commitment to keep showing up when no one is watching, when results are invisible, and when your motivation fades. Most people give up not because they lack potential, but because they underestimate the power of consistent effort. The truth is, persistence doesn't just move you forward, it changes who you become in the process. Every time you refuse to quit, you're strengthening the muscle of resilience, the mindset of a finisher, and the belief that progress is inevitable if you keep moving. There will always be moments of uncertainty. Moments where the path is unclear, where doubt creeps in, where your effort feels unseen and unrewarded. That's when persistence matters most. Anyone can stay committed when things are going right. True growth happens when you keep going despite the uncertainty. Persistence is not about perfection, it's about endurance. It's about staying focused on the vision when the outcome seems far away. It's about trusting the process when the progress is slow. You might not see the results today, but if you're consistent, they are building beneath the surface, just like roots grow long before a tree breaks through the soil. Uncertainty is not a sign you're off track. It's a natural part of any meaningful pursuit. It means you're stretching beyond what's familiar. It means you're entering the zone where growth lives. But uncertainty only becomes progress when you meet it with persistence. Because persistence transforms confusion into clarity, frustration into focus, fear into faith. It teaches you to keep moving forward even when you don't have all the answers. The key is not to wait for motivation. It's to act your way into it. Once you take one step, then another, momentum begins to build. You stop being paralyzed by fear and start being fueled by discipline. Every successful person you admire has had to walk through seasons of uncertainty. They've faced the doubts, the rejections, the moments where nothing seemed to work. But they made one crucial decision to keep going anyway. They understood that failure isn't final, it's feedback, that every no is bringing them closer to a yes. That persistence is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start, it matters how long you're willing to keep showing up. Progress doesn't belong to the most talented or the most privileged. It belongs to the most consistent. Because consistency compounds. Each day you persist, you add another brick to the foundation of your success, and eventually that foundation becomes unshakable. The hardest part about persistence is the waiting, the in-between phase where nothing seems to be happening. That's where most people give up. But that's also where the magic is. That's where your faith is tested, your patience is developed, your character is refined. The universe is not denying you, it's preparing you. Every delay is strengthening something inside you that you'll need for the next level. When you persist through uncertainty, you're proving to yourself that your dreams are stronger than your doubts. You're sending a message to life itself that you're not backing down until you've turned your vision into reality. There's a shift that happens when you stop expecting the path to be easy and start embracing the process. You begin to see persistence as power, not punishment. You realize that every repetition, every setback, every small step forward is progress even if it doesn't feel like it. You stop measuring your success by immediate results and start measuring it by your ability to keep going. Because persistence is not about doing it once and getting it right. It's about doing it again and again until it works. It's about outlasting your obstacles, outworking your fears, and out-believing your limitations. Every time you persist, you expand your capacity. You start to realize that the limits you thought existed were only mental walls. You learn that discipline is freedom, that effort compounds, that momentum is born from repetition. You develop a quiet confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you'll find a way. That confidence can't be given to you. It's earned through persistence. It's built one decision, one challenge, one act of courage at a time. And the more you persist, the more you become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. The beauty of persistence is that it guarantees progress. It might not always be fast or flashy, but it's always forward. And the moment you commit to never giving up, everything changes. Life begins to bend in your favor. Opportunities appear where there were once obstacles. Strength appears where there was once doubt. Persistence rewires your story from "I hope it happens" to "It will happen because I refuse to quit." It turns uncertainty into momentum and momentum into mastery. Faith must lead when results aren't visible yet. It's easy to believe when everything is working, when doors are opening, when progress is clear and tangible. But real faith begins when nothing makes sense, when the results haven't shown up, and when every voice around you says it's not going to happen. That's when faith becomes a decision, not a feeling. It's the inner conviction that something greater is moving, even if you can't see it yet. Faith is the bridge between your current reality and the future you're building. It's what carries you through uncertainty and keeps you grounded when your circumstances try to shake you. There's a reason every great success story has a chapter of waiting. That space between effort and evidence, between sowing and harvest, between vision and manifestation, is where faith is built. Most people give up in that gap because they confuse silence with failure. They think that if they don't see results right away, it means nothing is happening. But faith knows better. Faith understands that what you plant doesn't grow overnight. Just because you can't see, it doesn't mean it's not working. Growth is happening in places your eyes can't reach, in dimensions your mind can't measure. The roots are forming before the fruits appear. When results are invisible, faith becomes your compass. It keeps you moving in the right direction when logic says turn back. It reminds you that the dream is still alive even if it hasn't taken shape yet. Faith isn't blind, it's visionary. It sees beyond the surface. It trusts that every delay, every detour, every unanswered question is part of a bigger picture. It's not about denying reality, it's about redefining it. When you operate from faith, you're not waiting for proof, you're becoming the proof. You start living as if what you want is already on its way, and that energy begins to shift everything around you. The hardest part of any journey is the middle, the in-between stage where you've left the old but haven't yet reached the new. That's where faith is forged. That's where you learn to trust without seeing. And that trust changes you. It teaches you patience. It deepens your belief. It strengthens your character. You stop chasing certainty and start walking with confidence. You stop demanding signs and start creating them through your persistence and energy. Because faith is not passive, it's active. It's not about waiting, it's about preparing. It's about acting in alignment with your vision even when results seem miles away. When results aren't visible, fear tries to fill the gap. It whispers that you're wasting your time, that nothing's changing, that maybe you should give up. But that's exactly when faith must speak louder. Faith says keep showing up. Faith says trust the process. Faith says your effort is not in vain. The moment you give up on faith, you close the door on possibility. But when you hold onto it, even with trembling hands, you keep that door open long enough for the breakthrough to arrive. The people who make it in life are not the ones who never doubt. They're the ones who choose faith in spite of doubt. They've learned to believe beyond what they can see. Faith is power. It's the invisible fuel that keeps you going when the evidence hasn't caught up yet. It's what turns impossible dreams into inevitable realities. Because the truth is, the universe doesn't respond to fear, it responds to faith. When you move with conviction, when your energy aligns with certainty instead of hesitation, life begins to shift in ways that defy logic. Opportunities show up, people appear, paths clear, but it starts with your belief. You must first believe it before you can see it. The mind follows focus, and faith gives you that focus when circumstances tempt you to lose it. Every delay is not denial, it's development. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every long wait is shaping you for what's next. Faith is not about getting what you want instantly. It's about becoming the person who can hold it when it arrives. You're being refined in the unseen. Every test of faith is a preparation for greater responsibility, greater strength, greater capacity. So when you can't see the result, keep walking. When you can't feel the progress, keep believing. When it feels like nothing's happening, trust that everything is. Faith doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you never stop choosing belief. It means you wake up every day and decide to trust that the vision you carry inside you was placed there for a reason. You may not know how or when it will unfold, but you know it will, and that knowing becomes your anchor. It keeps you steady when the waves rise. It reminds you that unseen doesn't mean unreal. The timing may not match your expectation, but faith teaches you that everything is aligning exactly as it should. Because when faith leads, fear loses its grip, and what once seemed impossible begins to move toward you piece by piece, moment by moment, until one day it becomes visible. Life rises to meet the level of your belief. Every thought you entertain, every conviction you hold, every standard you set becomes the framework that shapes your reality. What you believe about yourself, about what's possible, about what you deserve, those beliefs quietly build the walls and ceilings of your life. The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your certainty. It reflects your inner state back to you. When you believe small, you attract small. When you believe boldly, life expands to match that energy. Your belief is not just an idea. It's a signal you send out, and life echoes it right back. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not luck, intelligence, or opportunity. It's belief. The ones who rise have trained their minds to see possibility where others see limits. They've decided that their circumstances don't define their potential. They walk through life with a quiet confidence that no matter what happens, they will find a way. That confidence is magnetic. It draws opportunities, people, and experiences that align with that mindset. Life meets them where their belief lies. That's why two people can face the same obstacle. One sees an ending, the other sees a challenge. One gives up, the other grows. The external event is the same. The internal belief changes everything. Belief sets the tone for your actions. When you believe in something deeply, you act with conviction. You take risks. You keep going when others stop. That belief fuels persistence, and persistence fuels results. But when you doubt yourself, your energy weakens, you hesitate. You question every step. You start searching for proof before committing, and that hesitation kills momentum. The truth is, belief always comes before evidence. You must first decide it's possible before you ever see the proof. Every great achievement begins with someone saying, "I will," and not "I hope." That's the language of belief, certain, grounded, unstoppable. Life is constantly responding to your level of certainty. If you walk into a situation expecting to fail, you'll unconsciously act in ways that make that outcome real. If you walk in expecting to succeed, you'll notice details, seize opportunities, and take actions that move you toward that success. Your belief influences your focus, your body language, your tone, your decisions. It determines how you interpret setbacks, whether as proof of defeat or as fuel for progress. You don't see life as it is, you see it as you are. Your beliefs color every experience, every relationship, every goal you pursue. Change the belief and the picture of your life begins to transform. Raising your belief doesn't mean ignoring reality, it means expanding it. It means deciding that the limits you see aren't walls, they're challenges to rise above. The moment you raise your internal standard, everything starts to shift. You stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop settling for good enough. You stop living as if life happens to you and start living as if you're a creator in it. Because that's exactly what you are. The power to shape your world begins with the belief that you can. When you upgrade your belief, you upgrade your behavior. And when your behavior changes, your results can't help but follow. The reason belief is so powerful is because it shapes energy. People feel it. Circumstances respond to it. You've met someone who walks into a room and commands attention, not because of what they say, but because of how they believe. They radiate certainty. They don't need validation, and that very energy draws others in. That's what belief does. It amplifies your presence. It makes your vision contagious. When you believe in your dream with everything in you, others begin to believe too. That's how movements start, how leaders are born, how impossible things become inevitable. The mind will always try to pull you back to what's familiar. It will whisper doubts, replay failures, remind you of your limitations. But belief is the voice that rises above all of that. It says, yes, I can. It says, yes, it's possible. It says, yes, I deserve more. And the moment you decide to feed that voice instead of fear, everything begins to change. You start moving differently. You stop playing small. You begin to act as the person you're becoming instead of the person you used to be. That shift in identity is the foundation of transformation. Life mirrors the strength of your belief. If you believe you are capable, opportunities will appear. If you believe you are limited, those same opportunities will pass you by unnoticed. The world is not holding you back. Your belief system is. The second you choose to elevate it, to raise your standards, to demand more of yourself and of life, you start to experience new levels of possibility. You stop surviving and start creating. You stop reacting and start leading. You begin to live not from fear, but from faith. Because the moment your belief expands, so does your world. And life, in every way, rises to meet you there.